Good evening everybody. It's time for another hop review, and this is a special one because it gives me an excuse to do this. Okay, so full disclosure, there may have been a small amount of creative editing at the start of that video. I don't know if you noticed where a little bit of extra footage may have been cut in there, but as you probably guessed, there aren't actually any woods inside the brew shed at the moment. Anyway, so Archer hops, they are one of the newer English hop varieties, so they were bred alongside, I think, minstrel hops, and basically one of the newer varieties where they're trying to keep traditional English sort of hop characteristics but bring in some more fruity or powerful kind of flavours, basically aiming towards the more sort of American and New World kind of hop flavours, I think, but still with that kind of English character to them. So when I saw Archer hops, as archery is another hobby of mine, I decided that I'd have to buy some, and I thought that I'd do a kind of archery themed beer that I could then take along to my club, because there's nothing quite as fun as drinking alcoholic beverages while also dealing with lethal weapons. So that seemed like a good idea at the time, but yeah, nobody was killed anyway while we were consuming beer and shooting arrows at the club, but I'll move on from that. So here's the beer that I made. It isn't a single hop variety, but I did predominantly use the Archer hops as the late additions and dry hops. So following on from the archery theme, I used Target for bittering. There was a little bit of East Kent Goldings in there as well, and lots of Archer at the end. So the recipe was 20 grams, this is for a 19 litre batch, 22 grams of Target to bitter, 20 grams of EKG in at 10 minutes alongside 10 grams of Archer, and then a 30 gram flame out addition of the Archer hops and 60 grams Archer dry hops. So basically a whole 100 gram packet went into this brew, as you can see on the recipe there. I also used Bedford Ale Yeast for the first time in this one, and as I'm from Bedford and that's where I shoot at my archery club, that was also part of the kind of archery theme that went into this one. Obviously it's not a single hop brew, so can't 100% put all the character in this one down to the Archer hops, but as there's 100 grams of that and only 20 of the Goldings, and the bittering hops don't necessarily contribute that much in terms of the flavour, I think it's still a good one to use to review these hops. So let's pour it out and get on with a tasting for this one. This has been in the bottle for a pretty good amount of time now. Yeah, it's nearly a couple of months now this one's been in the bottle. The Bedford Ale Yeast worked really well in this one. I was quite pleased with how that performed. It's got quite a nice carb on it, as you can see. I was aiming for a sort of summer ale with this recipe, so it's a nice sort of golden colour, quite hoppy, and with a decent bitterness at the end. There we have it. It's got a little bit of a haze to it, but not too bad, as you can see. Aroma wise, it's basically smells like an English hopped beer, so it's definitely got that kind of traditional yeah, just kind of, I don't know, the generic sort of hop smell that you get in English ales. There's not a particular aroma from that stands out as one particular type of smell from it. Yeah, just that sort of slightly green, maybe slightly spicy sort of, it kind of smells a little bit like hedgerow to me. that English hop aroma. So not a huge amount of kind of fruit characteristics or anything else coming through there. And again, taste-wise, you can kind of tell straight away that this is an English hop. It's definitely got the kind of green spice, herbal notes there that you would associate with a lot of English hops. In terms of fruity flavours, there is something there. It's not a really intense fruity flavour, but there's definitely, for me, the main thing coming through is a kind of peachy stone fruit taste. Maybe a little bit of apricot as well. It reminds me a little bit of the Waiti hops, but they are a bit more of a softer flavour, I think. So these definitely have more of a kick to them. It's got that that kind of bitterness to follow up the sort of soft fruitiness that, for me, makes it a little bit more interesting. Something that I would be more inclined to use on its own. Although I'm sure that this would combine with some other stuff as well. Obviously, I have combined it with EKG, and that might be contributing a bit towards that sort of classic English taste and aroma. But I think with 100 grams of the Archer being in this, I think we can definitely put a lot of that flavour down to those as well. Yeah, it's a nice one. I like this beer, and I like this hop quite a lot. I think in this style of beer, kind of light or summery kind of ale, golden ale type beer, it's a good one to use because it's got that nice English kick to it, and some light sort of summery fruity flavours without being too overpowering. So it's definitely not, you know, in terms of the intensity of the flavour, it's definitely not up there with your American hops or New World hops for fruit flavour, but it's got a little bit more fruitiness to it than what you would normally expect from an English variety. The blurb for this on the British Hop Association, I'll put a link to this into the details below, talks about floral elements with delicate hints of lime and peach. Now, peach, I definitely agree with. Lime, when you read descriptions of hops and then you start looking for the flavour, it's easy to convince yourself that it's there, but for me it's not something that I would have picked out straight away. I mean, there's a kind of, the bitterness has a slightly zesty kind of note to it, and they do go on to say that it provides a traditional assertive British bitterness, but for me it's almost more of that citrus sort of rind bitterness kind of flavour. Flavour intensity, they give it a 6 out of 10, which I'd agree with, and that's about it. There's not really much else there that's jumping out as important details. It is suggested as an aroma hop and useful for dry hop additions as well. So alpha acids 4 to 6%, so not something that you really want to be necessarily using as a bittering hop. That's about it. So yeah, that's your Archer hops. I would definitely use those again. It's certainly, you know, taste wise, it's definitely clearly an English hop to me in terms of flavour. I would, yeah, think golden ale is a good idea. Might actually work quite nicely in a lager as well. Actually, I think this could I can imagine having this in a like a fairly well hopped sort of English lager or something like that. What else could you put it in? Just, yeah, English ales generally, probably more on the light side, but you could still have this in a bitter, I think, or something like that. Maybe not the darker ales, blonde beers, pale ales maybe. In terms of adding other stuff into it, I think this one could be really interesting if you combined it with something a bit more citrusy. one of the American hops, like a, you know, classic sort of Cascade or Centennial or something like that, to do a little bit of a you know, English and American hopped beer, but good enough to have on its own as well. So yeah, I'm going to stop jabbering on about this and finish the rest of this pint now. So cheers everybody. Archer hops get thumbs up from me. Give them a go, see what you think as well, and let us know about it in the comments if you do. Okay, cheers everyone.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino.